Oh, yes. Uh-huh. I'm just looking at the Washington State Chapter 9.26A RCW. Yeah. Telecommunications crime. Yeah. Telephone company credit cards, prohibited acts. Definition. And then there's that fraud in obtaining telecommunication services. Yeah. Penalty. Fraud in obtaining telecommunication services, use of telecommunications default device. Yes. Penalty. I realize how the telephone has been used to be on each other. Yes. Could you get me the telephone number of the last 50 years of those that are oaths of office in the Bible Belt? Now, let's say you called your congressman today. You called your senator. Yes. Your representative. Yes. You called the mayor, the governor of each and every state, and you just use your telephone number. Yeah. A lot of these individuals that are in telecommunications, yes, use of the context clearly requires otherwise. 9.26A 100. Access device shall have the same meaning as that contained in RCW 98.56.010. Yes. Then there's that computer, means an electronic, magnetic, optical, electrochemical, or other high speed data processing device. Yes. Give me the phone numbers. Computer trespass. Oh, shall have the same meaning as that contained in Chapter 98.52 RCW. Then there's the credit card number. Means the card number or coding appearing on a credit card or other form of authorization. Yeah. Including an identification card or plate issued to a person of any telecommunication provider. Could you get me the actual providers of all telecommunications in the Bible Belt? Yes. I want the cell phone numbers. Yes. The hard line. Pooh. I want to know your actual telephone bills as attorneys. Yeah. As oaths of office. Yes. Those in police and sheriff's departments. Ouch. Those that are mandatory reporters and those that are ordained and licensed. Now, when we go through the telecommunications right now, I will tell you that if you have not been paying your telephone bill, Governor, yes, I'm personally going to sue you for that because there is what's known as fraud in obtaining telecommunication services. Every person who, with intent to evade the provisions of any order or rule of Washington Utilities and Transportation Commission, or of any tariff, price list, contract, or any other filing lawfully submitted to the Commission by any telephone, telegraph, or telecommunications company, yeah, or with intent to defraud obtains telephone, telegraph, or telecommunication service from any telephone, telegraph, or telecommunications company through the use of a false or fictitious name or telephone number, the unauthorized use of the name or telephone number of another, the physical or electronic installation of, rearrangement of, or tampering with any commitment or use of a telecommunication device, the commission of computer trespass or any other trick, deceit, or fraudulent device is guilty of a misdemeanor. Now, when we go through those in the Bible Belt, yes, that have passed this new legislation, yes, that wanted to protect their genetics because they didn't care. I mean, it was not a concern. There was never intention of this legislation being anything to do with a woman's right to choose, really. It was you, the dogs, yes, wanted to have control of every little boy and girl that was going to be born. So you could be on them, and then eventually, yes, you could put them in places of authority. Now, there's this idea of trick, deceit, or fraudulent device. Yes, just get me the telephone numbers and then the rerouting of and the actual telephone bills. Yes, and the cell phone bills of every oath of office in the Bible Belt right now. Because I'll tell you right now, okay, this idea, well, I'm just going to call my senator, I'm going to be on him, and then I'm going to decide the legislation of this nation. Considering what I understand about telecommunications, oh my gosh, look at you, Ma Bell just showed up. Now get me all the cell phone providers, all the telephone numbers, yes, and any other tampering with any equipment or telecommunications device. Because my experience has been that somebody always has to have my phone. That's right. Somebody always has to be on the computer. That's right. That the actual broadband that I'm using is not being paid for because the payroll never pays. Now, every time I look at your individual telephone bills, Senator. I'm going to make sure that you've been paying your own bills and somebody else hasn't. Because there is this thought that you've corrupted the political process of the United States. Now I'm just going to want the telephone numbers. I want your desktops, your laptops, your IP addresses, your search history. I want to know every bill that you've had for the last 40 fucking years because you're